And we live. What's up, guys? I'm out here chilling on my porch right now and sipping some tea. So right now I'm going to go over my weekend in Santa Cruz, which was kind of crazy. Show you the little backdrop there. It's kind of a nice sunset out. So yes, anyways, my weekend in Santa Cruz. So let's start from the beginning. It was a little bit rushed. I'm thinking that this PKB, so what is the PKB? It's point kickboxing. It's a point kickboxing tournament with Muay Thai rules. And I'm thinking that this event is going to be in Sacramento. So I had certain things organized where one of my coaches was going to go down and help coach me and whatnot. Then I realized it was actually in Santa Cruz. So certain things didn't pan out with one of my coaches going because of the severe time difference. And so I'm out from Reno right now. Santa Cruz is like probably 5 to 7 hours away from Reno, where Sacramento is 2 hours away from Reno. So as a means of trying to get somebody there to coach me, I had one of my friends, Nate, shout out to Nate, who cornered me for the weekend. Now, a little bit of backstory. I have been coaching Nate for a little over a year now. So I called him up and I'm like, hey man, turns out I don't have anybody to go with me. Do you want to come and help coach me, hold pads, yada yada. He's like, sure. We go down and we leave for Santa Cruz with my grandparents. We drive there Friday afternoon and then we get to Sacramento. From Sac, I got up at like 5 a.m. and then drove down there around probably 6. We left at 6 a.m., 6:30 a.m. and we got there by like 9:30-ish. So I got weighed in, everything was going good. And another thing about the PKB is I don't have to cut too much weight. Like the weight classes are from 150 to 160. I mean, like that's huge because I don't have to drop down anything crazy. I'm like right in mid 150s. So I weighed in at like 155. We got some breakfast, came back. And the PKB is about to start. They're usually delayed a little bit because I feel like it's still a very new thing. It's a newer concept, so to speak. Like I don't really remember anything like this in terms of how structured it is and how much rules it has around it. I don't remember anything like this going on in like high school several years ago when I was doing boxing lessons for the first time. So a PKB, what's very nice about it is there's a no knockout rule. It's fully padded and you have a ref there where if shit gets like too crazy, they're going to break it up, separate people, and then they're going to go back at it. So if somebody's getting too winded or somebody's closing up too much, they're going to separate fighters and then have them regroup, let them go at it again. The event got started around noon or 12:30, something like that. And they usually have kids go up, get done with all of the kids, and then the adults go up. So the bathroom is just crazy. There's like a 20-minute wait to use one of the stalls or whatever. So I'm like, whatever, I'm going to go down and use the restroom at this donut shop or whatever it was, this place. And then I walk back and then the adults are on. So before I left, I saw that I was mat number 1, person number 4 who was competing. So I was mat number 1. And then I was the 4th person to be competing with my opponent. I get back and I just check real quick and I am instantly in a state of panic. It's crazy. Like, I see that the adults are going, the guys who are in my weight bracket pretty much, and I'm like, oh my God, I think I missed my fight. So then I asked who's going, and they said it's the third match of the first mat. So there's 2 mats, and then they have different fights on each one. So that means I'm up next. That's essentially what that means. And usually I take like 10, 20, 30 minutes to just move around and, feel good. But I had to get all my stuff on and go in there right away. Like, I had no time to really prepare that much. So I'm just soft bouncing. I got all my gear on, and I'm going in there cold pretty much, but I feel super calm. I'm not like really anxious at all or anything like that. I felt super calm, and the match gets going. We touch gloves, and I feel that my opponent wasn't pressuring too much, so that allowed me to use a lot of space. And with my striking style, I like a lot of space. It allows me to move back, to move forward, to counter, to be aggressive, to do kind of everything. So the whole match was pretty much like this, like where it was this exchange, it was this nice tempo, and even the ref was like, yeah, dude, this is awesome. This is a really good pace. I think I kicked him a couple times a little bit too hard, kind of high at the head, and even at the legs. And the ref that was currently reffing was like, hey, take it down a little bit, take the power down off of your strike. So I did, and it ended up being a very smooth match. We went 2 rounds. They gave it to me, and then right afterwards, the ref's like, hey, you're going into the championship belt. Well, I'm going to put you with this other really experienced guy. I'm like, dude, I'm not even that experienced, man. This is like he's looking at me, and he's thinking like I'm so experienced. I'm like, man, I only have like a few striking matches under my belt, but I'm down. I'm 100% down. So I meet my opponent beforehand, and he's like, yeah, this should be really good, blah, blah, blah. And we introduce ourselves. We go up in probably like an hour after my first match. There's a different ref, and when I get there, I am a bit more warmed up than before. I'm feeling really good. I'm feeling loose. I was stretching and moving around. And one of the things, if I could backtrack real quick, one of the things that I want to point out is the mats, the texture of the mats were very almost dry, and I don't want to say like slippery, but a little bit of that, a little bit slippery. Meaning it was hard to grip. If you do a bunch of kicking or taekwondo kicks and you're on a dojo mat, at least my studio has mats where it's very grippy, where you do a kick and it feels like the ball of your foot is gripping on the mat the whole time that you're kicking. So it's just something that I'm used to, and getting more accustomed to these drier mats where my feet are sliding when I'm kicking almost, and even when I'm moving or taking a hard shot, is very weird. It's very different to me in a lot of ways. So that takes out some of my strikes, right? Like typically I would go into a back kick, a strong side kick. I might even throw a wheel kick in there, a spinning hook kick, some slide roundhouses to keep it long range. But with the dry mats, it kind of neutralizes that a little bit. So you really kind of have to stick to your bare bones, your basics, your punches into your low kick, punches into a mid-high kick. So the second match starts, and I don't even know where to begin. So let's start with his forwardness and his aggression. My opponent was just so forward, so aggressive. It just zapped that distance that I'm typically used to in terms of more of a taekwondo approach, where it's like in and out, give yourself some room, boom, firing with the shot. He didn't give me any of that. It was like, boom, right in. I mean, he was throwing really hard shots, and it was like Mike Tyson has that quote. everybody has a plan until you get punched in the face, and it's so true. This guy hit me so hard in the head multiple times, and I'm trying to like square up with them as I'm moving back. And that's one of my things, one of my weaknesses, I feel, and it's strength. It allows me to counter moving back, stay patient. But when you don't have that much mat space, like in this PKB that I went into at least, it eliminates a lot of your movement. Also, there was no wall. So typically, the PKBs that I did, the first and second one, they each had a wall. And what a wall does for me, it helps me secure the clench a little bit tighter. We're going to get more into that in a few minutes. But when I get the clench, I feel like I could put people up against the wall and just hammer knees off, or like back up and get a long strike in there, like a punch or a kick or something like that. And there was no wall, it was just open space in a gym, the basketball room, I believe. So I'm taking shots to the head, I'm trying to defend, and it's weird. It's like immediately there was more of a primal switch that went off in my head where I didn't feel that calm anymore, because that space was just zapped. He neutralized what I could do by just pressing in and being so aggressive. So I was trying to move back, boom, counter, move back, counter. But the thing was, every time I moved back, counter, he would just eat it like the freaking Terminator or something. He's just like, boom, and just demolishing me with shots, with punches and kicks. He was the more experienced striker in that match. The ref actually told me he's turning pro in a few weeks after that PKB that we had. And it was interesting because I had four striking matches so far that I've won, and then this fifth one I lost. And it was crazy to see just a different pace of an elite striker. Like, you go in and you hit, you exchange combos with your partners in the gym and stuff like that. And you even do some PKBs that might be more on the lighter side or whatever, but to really feel the different caliber of an elite martial artist was really, really crazy. And it was hard to adapt to that pressure. Now, let's talk about my clench game. When he was coming in, boom, 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 nailing me with shots, I got a good clench on him. I went in, clenched him, boom, secured it. I got a few knees off to the body, and I felt more stable in the clench, way more than him. I mean, he wasn't turning me, he wasn't trying to sweep me or anything like that. He did a few times, but I caught myself. I think my background in grappling really helps with the clench in a lot of ways. I just favor that more in my striking matches, I'm finding, for some reason, just naturally going to the clench more, boom, and firing off knees, even getting a sweep from there. So my first exchange in the clench, I was getting knees, and then the ref separates us. The second time we got into a clench, boom, we're setting off knees, and I believe I sweeped him on that one. And then we got into a third clench, and I was hitting different movements on him, making him step, trying to throw some knees. However, I feel that I wasn't clutching enough. Now, this is where I think an experienced coach comes in and is in your corner and says, hey, you need to do this more, whatever that is. You need to be more aggressive. You need to clench more. You need to kick more. You need to use that jab more. I think an experienced instructor or coach, a corner person, would have saw, okay, my fighter is doing really, really good in the clench. He's getting demolished in that mid-range by this guy's superior striking to his opponent. So in a future sense, I think that's where it gets super important of actually having somebody where it's like, yo, you're doing this very, very well. I know you're stressed the fuck out right now. You just got hit like 30 times super, super hard, but you're doing this one thing very well. Let's focus on this one thing very, very much and hammer it. Now, in Muay Thai rules, elbows and knees score the most points. Punches and kicks score lesser points. Now, from the body, head, and legs, I think those score differently as well. Punches to the head score the least amount of points. So it's just something to keep in mind. Elbows score more and knees score more. So when you're in the clinch and you're really working, hand fighting, clinch, boom, elbows and knees. But we can't do elbows in PKB matches, at least as an amateur doing PKBs. So he pretty much took it in round 1 and round 2. He was more dominant in like striking turb, staying outside, closing in, and just giving me no room to even breathe. As soon as I got into the clinch, it was a bit more in my favor where I felt more strong. I felt that grappling really coming in to play. But I think looking forward, I'm just going to look at having a coach there who can really see what I need to be doing and what I should be avoiding. For instance, when I panicked in there, like I got a little panicky, I threw a back kick. And I knew going in there that the mats were a little bit dry and slippery. So I'm like, no back kicks, no wheel kicks, stick to the basics, homie. And I think I threw like a slow back kick just to like throw my opponent off a little bit, but he just closed in right after that. I didn't even care. So it wasn't effective on my part. And again, when you are put in this like fight or flight state of mind, it's very difficult to see exactly what you should be adapting to and what things to focus on more of when you have something that is working. You know, like when you're getting outclassed in something that you typically outclass people in, it's weird to go to something else. That's where I think a new dynamic in my mind open up. Like I feel very good with range, staying out in long to mid range, throwing those strikes, moving back, countering, and being aggressive. But this guy was just on another level. And for one, it's even weird to talk to the camera and openly about that like, you know, somebody was more superior than you, and to really feel that like during the fight and after, like, holy fuck, this guy is like pretty damn good. It's a strange feeling, especially when you view something as like your love, your first love. Like I view striking as my first love. Like I like grappling, but I love striking. I love everything about it. So it was interesting to just feel that shift there. But when it all comes, here's my little lights, my apartment. When it all comes down to it, man, I guess it's all just like a learning experience. But still, the learning can be very hurtful sometimes. And yeah, I was just like, after the PKB match, I was just thinking about it over and over and over and rewatching the videos and rewatching both fights, but mostly the fight that I lost. And yeah, I just thought it would be important to make this video to kind of break down what my thoughts were and really everything that kind of took place that day. It was kind of, you know, crazy and awesome at the same time. No injuries. I feel very good. Head feels a little foggy, I think, from getting hit a few times. But other than that, everything feels pretty damn good. So, yeah, if you guys have any questions, boom, shoot them in the comments. I dropped both videos on my YouTube channel. All my fight videos are on there in terms of striking, except for my MMA match. It still hasn't came out yet, the one for King of the Cage, my debut. I'm still trying to find it and search for it. Not up yet, but it should be out soon. So if you guys want to go check that out, go for it. Other than that, I'm done. Peace. Thanks for watching.